Imagine losing your husband, only to discover he'd been cheating for years, and then his parents try to take your kids away. That's what happened to me. But when those same in-laws spread lies about my daughters at church, I decided enough was enough. And my revenge? Let's just say, it made Sunday service unforgettable. If you've ever been betrayed by people pretending to be holy or righteous, you're going to love this story. Hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle up, because this revenge? It's biblical. When my husband died last year, everyone thought I'd be devastated. And don't get me wrong, I was, but not in the way people think. I was grieving the man I thought he was, not the man he actually turned out to be. Because only months before the accident, my daughters, 17 and 15, found out the truth. He'd been cheating on me. 4 years. And to make it worse, his mistress had 2 boys. My husband's sons. When he and that woman died in the same car crash, my girls didn't just lose a father, they lost the illusion that their family had ever been whole. And as if that pain wasn't enough, my ex-in-laws decided to make things even worse. My ex's parents, now in their late 70s, were never easy people. They were the kind of church every Sunday folks who'd preach about forgiveness, while judging you for wearing the wrong shoes to service. After my ex died, they started calling constantly. Not to check on my daughters, but to demand custody. They said the girls needed a proper Christian home. And when that didn't work, they demanded to move in with us. That was never going to happen. We were already in court fighting over custody. And while I was focused on protecting my daughter's mental health, those two were playing the sympathy game, acting like they were the victims of some cruel, godless woman. Fast forward to my youngest's birthday weekend. We went to this little farmer's market we love. Fresh bread, flowers, local honey. I gave my daughter a budget and told her to buy whatever she wanted. Mostly candy and chocolate, of course. But an hour later, my phone rang. Her name flashed on the screen, and she was crying. "Mom, some women won't let me go. They're yelling at me." My stomach dropped. I grabbed my older daughter and we sprinted across the market. And when I saw what was happening, my blood boiled. 6 older women had cornered my 15-year-old daughter, berating her, calling her unchristian, saying she was heartless for refusing to spend time with her poor orphaned brothers. Those same boys born from her father's affair. I stepped between them so fast the closest woman stumbled backward. "Back away from my daughter," I said, my voice shaking, but not from fear. From rage. They looked me up and down with disgust. "Oh, look who it is," one sneered. "The wife who refuses to obey her in-laws. What a fine example of Christian motherhood." That word, obey, made me want to laugh and scream at the same time. My eldest grabbed her sister's hand and whispered, "Come on, let's go." I told her to take her sister, pay for the things, and head to the car. Then I turned back to those women. I didn't hold back. I told them exactly what I thought about their gossip, their hypocrisy, and their blind loyalty to people who'd hurt children. It turned into a full-blown shouting match. The market security asked us all to leave. And as I walked to the car, those women followed, like a flock of vultures, hissing behind me until I slammed my car door shut. My daughters sat silent all the way home. But when I tucked them into bed that night, something in me broke. I realized this wasn't just gossip anymore. It was harassment. Later that night, I reached out to a friend from that same church, a decent guy who'd always been kind. When I told him what happened, his voice went quiet. Then he said, "You should see what your ex-mother-in-law posted on the church Facebook group." And when he sent me the screenshots, I almost dropped my phone. There it was, a long, emotional post painting my ex's parents as victims. They claimed I'd abandoned them. That my daughters refused to acknowledge their brothers. That I'd stolen money that was rightfully theirs. But the worst part. She told everyone the affair kids were actually surrogate babies, that I'd asked another woman to carry our sons, then rejected them for not being girls. I could hardly breathe reading it. The audacity. The lies. And the comments underneath were even worse. People from the church sending sympathy, prayers, and money. Calling me a monster. But here's the thing about that church. They might forgive almost anything, but cheating? That's their ultimate sin. And that's when an idea started forming in my mind. You know that feeling when anger turns cold? When it stops burning and starts sharpening? That's where I was. I realized I still had all the proof from my divorce. The photos, the messages, the emails. Every dirty secret my ex and his parents tried to hide. So the next morning, I drove to a print shop. I asked for high-quality prints. Glossy, clear, unmistakable. Pictures of my ex and his mistress. Kissing, holding hands, in our living room. Screenshots of texts where he admitted everything. Emails from his parents encouraging him to keep it discreet. And messages where they bullied my daughters, calling them bastards, and saying it was their fault their father died. Those words were dated just 2 days after his funeral. I stared at that pile of paper and thought, you wanted a story? Let's give you one. I spent hours assembling them into little binders. White covers. Simple titles. Designed to look exactly like the church's hymn books. And right on the first page, I placed a photo of my ex and his mistress kissing. With the words, "The true love story." By Sunday morning, I was ready. I drove to the church just before service, walked inside like I belonged, and placed my binders neatly on the back table, right next to the regular song packets. Then I left. It didn't take long. By that afternoon, my phone started blowing up. Apparently, the congregation had opened the hymn books during service. And instead of songs, they found pictures, text messages, proof. Undeniable, high-quality proof. The gossip mill exploded. The church Facebook group was in flames. People calling my ex a disgrace, calling his mistress every name in the book, and my in-laws, enablers of sin. Even the pastor had to step in just to calm people down. And me. I sat on my porch with a cup of coffee, watching my daughters laugh for the first time in weeks. For once, justice didn't come from a courtroom. It came from truth. Within days, my ex-in-laws deleted their Facebook accounts. They stopped showing up to church. People they'd known for 40 years. Wouldn't even look at them in public. My friend told me the final straw was when one of the elders told my ex-mother-in-law, "Maybe you should practice the faith you preach." She later posted one last pity post about how no one cares for the elderly anymore, and how she wished her great son were still alive to take care of them. Funny, considering I was the one who worked, while their son cheated. As for the money, turns out my ex had secretly changed his will, leaving his personal account and life insurance to his parents instead of his daughters. He told me he'd made them the beneficiaries for the kids' future. I guess he meant his affair kids. But the law sided with me, since the divorce wasn't finalized. The assets defaulted back to the estate. And the court protected what mattered most. My daughters. Looking back, people still say I was petty. That I should have turned the other cheek. But here's the thing. Sometimes turning the other cheek just lets them slap you twice. My revenge wasn't about cruelty. It was about truth. And making sure my daughters saw that. Standing up for yourself doesn't make you sinful. It makes you strong. That church used to whisper that I'd fallen from grace. But now even they admit, sometimes the devil wears a halo. So what do you think? Did I go too far, or was this the justice they deserved? Let me know in the comments below. And if this story gave you goosebumps, hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life revenge that proves karma always keeps receipts.